と契約して魔法少女になってよ。
Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to Redlock round of 32. This match we have FlatPaper versus Exia3D. Very close seeding match here, with FlatPaper being number 15th in quals and Exia being number 18th. I am your commentator, Consumer of Bean, and I'm also joined by the lovely iFlame.
I am so excited about this match. I mean, not only is it going to be close on paper, it looks incredibly close based on the stats And I also got carried by Exia way back in the day when they were still playing 50K tournaments. So it's good to see him competing with some of the best Canadian players, unbiased commentator, by the way. But here you can see the qualifier results on screen. FlatPaper had some really strong scores on the DTs, be notably that DT1 and DT2, as well as that Hard Rock 2 precision pick. Did struggle a lot more with the hiddens, but as we're about to see, Exia's qualifier stats are pretty comparable. Struggled with the hiddens, had really good scores on Hard Rock 2, as well as the DT1, and I think this is the big difference, right? Popped off on the No Mod 4, getting 4th overall, so that's kind of potentially Exia might be looking to pick more tech-focused maps. On the other hand, FlatPaper's big advantages were on that DT2 as well as that No Mod 2 are the biggest score gaps in favor of FlatPaper. So I think we're likely to see FlatPaper opt into more of those tapping maps, and Exia probably going to ban those out. We've got our first warm-up. This is what I like to see. 50-second warm-up, absolute banger. Chug Chug with you is the first warm-up. I mean, how can you not know this warm-up? It is a classic.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned with the whole biased commentator thing before, I mean, you're rooting for Exia here probably, but FlatPaper has carried me in Valorant quite a few times now, so...
There you go. It all balances out in the end. Man, it's almost like a clash of the old guard versus the new. FlatPaper has been up there with the best Canadian players for many years now. Exia definitely more of a newcomer to the upper echelon of Canadian players. It is unsurprising that this is a Pink Eye fan suggestion. It is very reminiscent of Pink Eye fan's own warm-up that we saw in the previous match. And what I've learned today is that Pink Eye fan is just the warm-up goat, to be honest.
Rolls are in, and we're getting straight into the picks and bans here. I'm expecting Exia to just ban all the stamina right off the bat, because that seems to be their weakest spot, is the stamina and like heavy tapping. But the speed burst stuff, I think they'll do a little bit better on compared to that stamina. FlatPaper, I think it's just going to be a double hidden ban. I could be wrong, but even though both of these players struggled on the hidden, FlatPaper had an especially rough time on that hidden 1 and not a great time on that hidden 2 either for that qualifiers.
Yeah, I think personally I would leave the HD2 open because Exia really struggled on that one as well. And it looks like Exia will
Exia banning that hidden 2.
Yeah, a little bit surprising because they both struggled so much on the hidden 2. But I guess the gamble there is that, yes, the HD2 is rough for both players, but if you feel like it's 10 times rougher for you than it is for FlatPaper, then you kind of have to ban that out. And so we'll have to see what the second ban is.
I also wonder if it's one of those situations where, you know, the only crazy stamina map intensive in this pool is No Mod 2, and No Mod 5 is kind of stamina heavy too with the much faster tapping, but so your second ban's probably going to be up to those two. I guess getting that hidden 2 out of the way is good, especially because on these easier pools, maybe Exia just isn't feeling as comfortable and is worried that FlatPaper will, you know, have practiced and be ready for it.
FlatPaper, banning out Hard Rock 1, that very long consistency aim map, as well as the No Mod 3, our snap alt pick. So unexpected bans, I would say, so far, and this could be HD1 ban.
HD1 ban, wow.
So again, following in Pink Eye fans' footsteps, I believe we saw the exact same bans last match.
Now, I'm making an assumption here based off the qualifier results, but if I'm Exia right now, I'm not gonna be happy with those bans because you've left up that No Mod 2 and No Mod 5, and I just, based on the qualifiers alone, mind you, it might have just been a bad day, but yeah, we see FlatPaper right away picking that No Mod 5, and I just based on qualifiers alone here, I don't really see how Exia is going to compete on these two maps.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, the only angle I could see is that obviously FlatPaper has played in a ton of tournaments. There's a lot more information on FlatPaper than just qualifiers, and even though FlatPaper, didn't have great hidden results in this qualifiers, we know, especially at this kind of star rating of pool, FlatPaper can probably play these hidden maps at a decent level. Exia, I also generally know as the stamina guy, but I've really had a bad time with it in qualifiers, so I'm not sure if maybe just had a bad day. Could have just, or could be kind of skill capped with the stamina on this pool. But we're going to find out with this No Mod 5. Both players are off to a pretty good start. Exia is not dropping too much accuracy, but is still falling behind FlatPaper, who looks about as comfortable as you would expect on the tapping pick, still holding that very high at 99 accuracy, but we do have some of the trickier streams coming up very shortly. That's going to be kind of the first real test of this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And you see that first stream, both players hitting it just fine. Exia has already surpassed their 2 qualifier scores on these stamina maps, so probably just a bad day.
Yeah, very possibly just skill cap as well. Does drop quite a few 100s there. But I mean, this map is, I'd say, relatively consistent in terms of difficulty. We should start to see the players struggle more as the stamina drains towards the end of the map, but Exia's accuracy continues to fall a little bit, falling farther and farther behind FlatPaper, and this 90,000 point difference right now is purely off of the accuracy. Now, I will say, as long as Exia holds on to this combo, he will always have a chance of bringing this one back into the break. Both players know that they are holding full combos. They know one miss could very well spell the end for either player here, and so FlatPaper is far from out of the woods, has to be incredibly careful. Exia, though, continuing to drop accuracy on these first chain 100s, but needs to hold out that combo a little bit longer. We could be seeing a double FC on this map.
Maybe. One long stream here right at the end. And we do see it. Both players are going to... Well, I can't speak soon. Okay, yeah, both players are going to FC it. I forgot there's another stream at the end. But FlatPaper, with that just much stronger accuracy performance, is just going to be able to not just eke it out, but almost by 200k, which is very, very wide margin for a double FC. Still, great stuff from both players coming out of this first pick. And that was not Exia's pick, that was FlatPaper's pick. So if you're Exia, you're probably thinking, oh, that's not bad at all. I can clearly play this stamina maps, and I can, let FlatPaper pick the other one, and I might just take it.
I've been informed that Exia did not do any warm-up for the qualifiers, so had a bad time on the tapping maps. I guess that
would
sense.
Explain a lot.
Certainly would. Now, with that said, I still don't think you need to pick tapping as Exia. I think it is going to be the No Mod 4, so precision makes a lot of sense here. This is something that both players did well on, but I think this match is interesting because these players have a ton of overlapping skill sets. So already, very early on in this match, you don't have really any of these kind of guaranteed picks, these free points that you would expect to see in a lot of matchups with opposing skill sets. Instead, it feels like every single map in this match is going to be heavily contested, is going to be hard fought, and we could see quite a few breakpoints in this match, depending on how the players are feeling. Meanwhile, though, No Mod 4, I mean, you guys know what to expect by now. It's CS8, AR 8.5, incredibly difficult to aim, and an incredibly short map as well. Exia already falling.
And Exia is misreading on these triples.
Yeah, thankfully for Exia, FlatPaper has traded a miss back now, so is not out of this one, but the damage has been done for sure, down 63,000 points with half of the map to go. Is up on accuracy. That could make a difference, but needs to get some combo back here. FlatPaper could find an early breakpoint, and I mean, I feel like I've said it every match now, but these early breakpoints are massive, especially in the best of nines.
And there's really only this section right here for Exia to claw back the score gap, and that break seals it, I think.
Yeah, almost certainly.
There's just a couple notes at the end here, but...
Yeah, as an easier section, we'd have to see a massive chain miss from FlatPaper this to go back over. I think we are going to see that early break point. Exia misses yet again, and FlatPaper finds the break point up to nothing. Now has a chance to consolidate. And I'm curious to see whether or not FlatPaper goes back to the tapping, or whether that previous tapping performance might give FlatPaper a bit of pause in terms of pick strategy. But I will say I do still feel like FlatPaper is favored on those tapping maps, so I would not be surprised to see the DT2 coming out as the next pick here.
Yeah, I'm with you there. That's where I would probably go. Is yep, right there, DT2.
There it is. And yeah, I mean, it feels like with the bans, yes, we've seen Exia do well on the previous tapping map, but with how good FlatPaper is, even if you can put up an SC, it might not matter. And after the DT2, you've got Nomad 2, you've got DT3 still open, so I think the picks for FlatPaper in this match are going to be very easy. And yes, Exia can definitely take some points, potentially a breakpoint on one of the tapping maps. I think the picks on Exia's end are going to be a lot more tricky.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking here, and for Exia, I can only really see one route, and that's to go through the Hard Rocks, which against FlatPaper is a terrifying prospect.
Certainly is, but here we go into the DT2. We saw double FC on the previous tapping pick. Let's see if these two can do it again. FlatPaper put up a very impressive accuracy, and Exia already finds the early miss. FlatPaper trades it back. It is much harder. Exia, maybe having some tech issues, has missed about like 20 or 30 notes on that section. Absolutely tanks the accuracy, and this is going to be a pretty sizable lead for FlatPaper, who's looking to consolidate the breakpoint.
I don't think it's tech issues. I think it's potentially misreading these even note bursts. There's a lot of these 2 and 6 note bursts littered throughout these sections.
Yeah, I mean, did shake the cursor for a second, so something definitely went wrong. Could just be frustration as well, but seems to be back to normal now. Regardless, finds another slider break, and FlatPaper up to 400 combo is certainly proving that dominance yet again on these tapping picks. As Exia down by 100,000 points, and we're approaching the halfway point of the map. So if FlatPaper does find the miss, but it's traded back, and any traded misses at this point favors FlatPaper, and looking well poised to consolidate this breakpoint. As a reminder, we do have another match over on the B stream, which has been linked in the chat. It's going to be Zex versus Caleb Sa, and they are currently 1-1, but Caleb is looking to make that 2-1. So check out that match as well, being commentated by Dio and Pikapone, as FlatPaper holds on to this 100,000 point lead. Is down about 150 combo, but with the accuracy difference, that 150 combo isn't really enough to matter at this stage of the match. If we see a couple misses from FlatPaper, it could go back over, but it's not looking super likely at this stage.
Yeah, Exia has finally gotten a grip on the map, but unfortunately, FlatPaper is not letting go of that big combo, and that's not going to let Exia get back into this right at the end here. So it will be FlatPaper consolidating that early breakpoint, going up 3-0, and it's very, very concerning if you're Exia now.
Yeah, it is only down 1 breakpoint, so not necessarily end of the world, but that does feel especially bad in the best of 9s. And on top of that, Exia has not really found a skill set that's going to be easy to win. So I think in most matches, if you're only down a breakpoint, you could kind of be a little bit more comfortable that you're going to win your own picks. So you're not so worried about it as long as you can get that breakpoint back later. And I think in this kind of matchup, it is far from a guarantee that you're going to win your own picks.
We see the hidden 3 pick out of the player that banned hidden 1 and hidden 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to trust the process here.
Yeah, I will say this is definitely a good skill set from Exia. This kind of more finger control focused map is something that Exia tends to excel on, but definitely could look a little bit strange given the hidden 1 and hidden 2 bans. Now, mind you, I don't think either of us were necessarily expecting the hidden 1 or the hidden 2 bans in this matchup in particular.
I think if it was going to be anyone banning it, I thought it was going to be FlatPaper, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because he has a lot more that he's comfortable on with tapping.
Absolutely.
But yeah, let's see. Banning 2 hiddens, picking the 3rd. Let's see if that works out for Exia.
Yeah, down 3-0. Exia desperately needs to make this point count. I think you can't afford to give up match point now, or I mean down 4. It's just going to spell the end. It's going to be most likely too big of a lead to come back from. Exia has found the early miss, but it's only about 25 combo difference. It shouldn't matter too much. However, accuracy potentially an indicator of these players' comfort levels on this map. I think it's going to be telling once we get into the first guy of the map, and we see who can hold on to their combos. As long as Exia can recover, the combo, the accuracy, that early miss aren't going to matter too much, but the real test is coming up shortly.
Yeah, as we get into these weird swing rhythm patterns, Exia does find a drop. That's not what you want to see at all, as we're already a third of the way into the map here. And FlatPaper's looking real comfortable on this. But Exia, yeah, you can see just there dropping a 50 on that slider. And oh no, just a total collapse from both players on that stream.
Yeah, that's such a brutal pattern.
One of those kind of maps where, you know, hidden flow aim, streams, 1/3, weird bursts. And now it transitions into this more jumpy, not swing style here in a couple seconds.
Yeah, but at this point, traded misses are just not enough for Exia. Needs to find combo advantage somewhere in this map with another miss. Is quickly running out of time to do so. Yeah, it certainly doesn't feel like the place you usually see a miss on a map like this one. And FlatPaper has extended that lead to 100,000 points. FlatPaper entirely in the driver's seat on this one. Unfortunately, this second pick not working out for Exia. I think we're likely to see a second break point and FlatPaper on match point.
Yeah, and it almost does look like tech issues on Exia's side. There's some really weird cursor movements going on here. I don't know if it's misreads or if there's something going wrong on the hardware level here. But yeah, unfortunately it is going to lead to FlatPaper taking this point pretty considerably. And I mean, I don't see the strategy here on the picks.
Yeah, not entirely either. Maybe just not feeling comfortable with this pool as a whole. I will say it is a very tough matchup. I think when you are the lower seeded player, you really prefer to have kind of opposing skill sets facing off so you can get your guaranteed points and kind of just hope for a lucky break point later on when there's a lot less maps in the pool. In this specific matchup, where the skill sets between these two players have so much overlap, I think that tends to favor the higher seeded player, the player who is more consistent with generally a slightly higher skill cap, because you know, on average you are going to take these points, and if you have the exact same skill set, the lower seeded player doesn't really have those kind of go-to maps that they can get their guaranteed points on. I think that's kind of what we're seeing here. But it's going to be Hard Rock 3 the last pick, so FlatPaper moves away from the tapping to go for that fold style alt map.
Funnily enough, I think this is actually probably Exia's best pick too. Just
yeah,
to check that Hard Rock skill set, because that's one spot where, you know, it was very contested in the qualifiers. I believe it is FlatPaper outscored on the Hard Rock 2 and Exia outscored on the Hard Rock 1, but it's not by much. So yeah, I believe that this is probably Exia's best chance here of getting a point on the board. No send Q. Very classic style alt map. Just non-stop alt patterns for 3.5 minutes. I mean, you play any PKK map, it's one of those.
Yep, definitely should be a totally comfortable style of map for these two players, barring the Hard Rock, but both players had some good scores on the Hard Rocks, others kind of more average scores. Exia is going to find the first couple of misses along with a slider break there. Usually on a map like this, accuracy isn't much of a factor, but Exia is falling a little bit behind. FlatPaper yet to miss, has a close call there, finally finds the drop. That is going to be traded back by Exia, so FlatPaper will hold on to this 20,000 point advantage for the time being. It is a pretty tricky section, so we'll see if either player finds additional drops.
Yeah, and as we go through the first KI here, we are only at a 30,000 score difference. So still plenty of map, and The combos and acts are pretty much even. Exia a little bit down, but nothing significant.
No, this
So
one
I think
is
the next break here is the most important.
absolutely. This one is definitely in reach for either player right now. 30,000 points is not much on a map like this. And with the next Ki coming up, unless we see a trade, like you said, that next break could very well be the decider. Here we go into the next Ki. It is those kind of linear space patterns that have been the ones to catch both of these players out so far, rather than those kind of flow aim alt patterns. So both of them nailing the start of the Ki, but there are a couple very tricky patterns coming up. Exia just misses the slider, and it is going to be so far behind FlatPaper now, who's holding on to this 500 combo. Unless we see a miss from FlatPaper before the end of this Ki. There it is.
We do.
Exia still in this match, but has a lot of ground to make up.
Absolutely. I mean, it's still only a 50k difference, and we have plenty of combo left here. But Exia finds another break, and this is not the section where you want to be doing that.
Yeah, this is free advantage for FlatPaper on this slightly easier section. I mean, down by 100 points, 100 combo is not usually the end of the world, but in a match this close, every bit of combo matters. There's one more Ki for Exia to bring this one back, get a point on the board, and keep the winner's brackets hopes alive. FlatPaper can close this one out if he can survive the next Ki. FlatPaper,
But he does
finds
miss.
the miss. Exia has an angle back into this match, has a chance to get the point on the board, but needs to hold on to this Ki.
But he
Unfortunately,
drops.
unable to do it, and I
Oh,
think that's going to spell the end for Exia.
Yeah, unfortunately, that lead for FlatPaper has only just slowly grown throughout this entire map, and now we're well past the point where there's enough combo to make up 100k. So it does look like it's going to be a 5-0 sweep for FlatPaper.
Very well played to FlatPaper, who put up some really good scores in this match, showed really no weaknesses. Even those maps that we were more concerned about, you know, look good on the HD3, that one mod category that FlatPaper showed a little bit more with. And FlatPaper is an absolute tournament veteran at this point, is certainly a terrifying player, and does have a very tough match coming up, though. Is going to play the winner of Sparkly Fairy 200 versus Whatsoever, that 2 versus 31 seed, and Exia will play the loser of that very same matchup in the losers bracket. Exia apparently in the hospital for a while, so hopefully Exia's doing all right and feels better for the next match. But one more congratulations to FlatPaper. We've got another match going on right now. That is again Zex versus Calebsa on the B stream, currently 3-2, looking to be 3-3 shortly. So I think we are going to host the B channel on Dio stream, and our next match I think is going to be 23 UTC, which is Kia versus Non-Cycle, and consumer of being you'll be back. I know you'll be back for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. I will see everyone back here in about 30 minutes for that match. Quite excited for it.
Absolutely. In the meantime, enjoy Caleb's versus Zex.